Come with me as I take you to some of my favourite cities on a long weekend. Buongiorno tutti! Together we'll explore the places I love. Oh, Palermo, what a beauty you are. Oh, my word, Madrid is next to heaven. And discover places new. We put the vroom vroom into Milano. Oh my, this is astonishing. From Stockholm to Lisbon, we'll raise a glass,
Saúde.
and enjoy great food. Pork that melts in your mouth. I don't think there's any delicate way of eating it.
Oh,
We'll leave the tourist trail behind. Every bone in my body has been shaken. My goodness, we are on the ice.
yes.
Oh, my word. We are tacking. And seek out special places to stay. The view of Prague is magnificent. Along the way, we'll make new friends. Do you mind if we do a selfie?
Really?
And memories to last a lifetime. I think I shall always remember this. This is a beautiful moment. I have rarely seen such opulence. What an amazing sight. I am loving this. I can't wait to show you more. Join me on a long weekend in Europe's westernmost capital. This charming city, a little more than 2 hours from Britain, welcomes almost 6 million visitors per year. Lisbon in Portugal. Situated on 7 hills, above an estuary so broad that it resembles a sea, where it flows into the mighty Atlantic Ocean, Lisbon is distinctively compact and relaxed, a perfect place to unwind. Lisbon is a city of light, south-facing, over the Tagus River, which reflects the solar rays over its beaches, its castle, and its 7 steep hills. This is the capital of Portugal. Here you can gorge on fish, or on the exotic diets of its multi-ethnic population, or we can be tempted into overindulging on irresistible cakes. I offer you sun, fun, and sin. I've visited Lisbon before. On this trip, I want to get under its skin. Goodness, George. Step outside my comfort zone. Didn't know he was going to do that. I'll take to the high seas. We are tacking. Discover spicy new friends. Whoa. And crafted fashion that fits like a...
This is perfect.
Oh, my goodness.
You see, they fit very well.
Today, I'll show you the city's birthplace. Lisbon is a city of panoramas and views, isn't it? Embrace the experimental. And so these are little coffee beans.
Exactly. Don't be afraid, because it's really tasty.
Don't be afraid. Obrigado. And discover authenticity during an entrancing night of music. Our weekend begins with some highlights before we delve beneath the surface of the city. Being constructed on those 7 hills is something that Lisbon shares with Imperial Rome. The steep, winding streets offer great exercise, and the vistas are worth the effort. We start on the iconic São Jorge Hill, home to Lisbon's oldest and highest neighbourhood, Alfama. I suggest that we save our legs and shoe leather and travel in vintage style. A marvellous way to get around Lisbon is by its picturesque trams, and one that takes you almost everywhere is the ubiquitous and always crowded number 28. Tram Route 28 is one of Lisbon's most popular visitor activities, and with good reason. Nowadays there are modern, sleek, long trams, but not on the Route 28, because this goes around so many bends and up so many hills, you need short vehicles. And these are deliciously vintage. The 28 harks back to Lisbon's golden age of tram travel, inaugurated in 1914, when the network was fully electrified. By 1959, Lisbon had 27 tram lines. Today, just 6 remain, sharing the streets with the newer metro and bus networks. On your visit, you'll find plenty of public transport options. Whoa, what a view, what a beautiful view. This is the way to slice through Lisbon. My tram slips through narrow streets, penetrates intimate squares. This is my vessel of discovery. From the charming wide boulevard Rua Augusta, up through hilly, winding medieval back streets, the 28 offers a perfect moving image of Lisbon. Anybody on the pavement, flatten yourself against the wall. It's an exhilarating and dizzying introduction. What a fabulous way to see Lisbon. There is no better. Obrigado. Ciao. Having arrived in Alfama, I'm meeting local writer Katia. She's promised to reveal the surprising stories behind this historic neighbourhood. We meet outside one of the city's many bakeries, renowned for its iconic Portuguese tarts. Katia, hello.
Hello, Michael. How are you?
If that's for me, that's what I call a lovely welcome.
This is the pastel de nata. Every cafe has its own recipe. So you can taste the tart here or in another cafe, in another city, and they will all taste different.
By the way, what a beautiful building.
It has the tiles that tell the story of the life of Saint Anthony. He's considered the patron saint of the people of Lisbon.
Ah.
He was born here actually in this neighborhood, very close to the Cathedral of Lisbon, but the house was destroyed by the big earthquake of 1755.
Like so many things, yes.
Yes.
By the way, we call it the Lisbon earthquake of 1755. I have a house in Spain, hundreds of kilometers away, and that area was devastated in the same earthquake. It was an enormous event.
Yes, and that's why it's a big moment in our history.
Yes.
We always have to mention Lisbon before and after.
That 1755 earthquake was literally a seismic event that destroyed 85% of Lisbon's buildings, killing a third of the city's population. Many who survived the quake were consumed by a tsunami or engulfed in a firestorm which enveloped the centre. The only neighbourhood to survive relatively intact was Alfama, thanks to its elevated position. Today it's popular with tourists, but very much a residential neighbourhood. The fact that there's people's washing here is a clear indicator that people live here.
They are all very small because these apartments, they have like 40 square meters and an entire family would live there.
Right.
And Michael, this is a house that dates from before the earthquake of 1755. And as you can see, there's still people living here, right?
Absolutely. A fine display of underwear and socks.
We can choose which one we want.
From the São Jorge Castle, Alfama tumbles down towards the Tagus River. So steep.
We could slide.
offering spectacular views around every turn. Lisbon is a city of panoramas and views, isn't it?
One hill after the other,
Yes.
right?
And so at least 7 good viewpoints.
Yes.
Because the river here is so wide, in Lisbon you have this tremendous sense of the Atlantic, that something vast and different begins right here.
And that's probably one of the reasons why we are not afraid to try and explore.
Another lovely area.
Yes, the heart of Alfama. Alfama is the soul of the city because Alfama is the origin of Lisbon. And we have pictures on the walls of the facade.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
This was a photographer that she came to live here a few years ago, Camilla Watson, and she had the idea to honor those who make Lisbon. For example, the lady that is there, she lives on that building.
Yes.
There's in another part of Alfama a bench where 3 ladies sit there every day, and she has the picture of these 3 ladies.
Very much honoring the people who live here.
Yeah. At the same time, I think it also reminds tourists that people live here, and that is very important nowadays when traveling.
Before we go our separate ways, Katia has one more treat in store.
Can I introduce you to the ginginha?
And who is that?
It's our local drink.
Oh, yes, you
It's
may.
a sort of a brandy. It's a sour cherry, and we can drink in this chocolate cup because it's a perfect mixture, and then you eat the cup.
Yeah, we eat the cup.
Yes. Saúde.
Saúde.
Good.
Brilliant. My first morning in the Portuguese capital is behind me. Having worked up an appetite walking through Lisbon's oldest district, Alfama, I've come to the downtown neighbourhood of Fado, renowned for its high-end shopping, restaurants, theatres and museums. Like much of Lisbon, Fado was levelled by the 1755 earthquake. A more recent disaster struck in August 1988, when a blaze destroyed several prominent city centre buildings, including 2 department stores. Nearly 1,700 firefighters were needed to bring it under control. Fortunately, my next destination was situated beyond the fire and remains one of the city's oldest and best-loved cafes. I'm meeting manager Sonia, a fellow coffee lover. Hello, Sonia.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
Lovely to see you.
Nice to meet you.
What a wonderful establishment this
It is.
It has that feel of La Belle Époque in Paris.
Well, it is. It's one of the most popular cafes and historic cafe in Lisbon and in Portugal.
Ah, thank you very much. Obrigado. Now, I've heard people using this expression, bica. I want a bica.
Yeah.
What's a bica?
Bica is
Yeah.
a coffee, espresso coffee.
Right.
Okay.
So, whereas I might say in Spain, I might say un café, in Italy, I might say un espresso, here you say una bica.
Yes, uma bica. But it's most popular in Lisbon than in Porto. In Lisbon, everybody knows what a bica is.
And coffee is an extraordinary thing when you think about it, isn't it? I mean, it's black, which is not a particularly attractive colour. It's very bitter.
It is.
It's very strong. And yet, for instance, I love it. And you see, I don't take sugar, I don't take milk, I just like my coffee like that.
Just like me, just like me. And I drink about 3 to 4 coffees a day, and it's a Portuguese habit already.
It may be a daily ritual today, but when this cafe opened in 1905, there was no coffee culture to speak of in Portugal. Which is, to me, so surprising, because, you know, the British had coffee houses in London, I think from certainly the 18th century.
Yeah.
The cafe's founder, Adriano Teles, a Portuguese coffee dealer, had returned from 26 years in Brazil to open this cafe, only to discover that the locals didn't much like the taste. Determined to win them over, he offered a free cuppa to customers who bought food or delicacies imported from Brazil, like sugar.
And for 3 years, he did this. He offered the coffee.
Right, so you buy some sugar, here's a free coffee, here's a free coffee.
Exactly.
Okay. His great coffee giveaway paid off. Within a few years, Portugal was hooked, and Tellus had opened coffee shops across the country. He even incorporated coffee into some of the unique offerings on the menu.
So this is the famous steak with the coffee sauce that it's in the menu for so many years.
And so these are little coffee beans.
Exactly.
And all finished off with a fried egg.
Very Portuguese.
I've never tasted this before.
Well, let's see if you like it. You taste the coffee, right?
That's very nice.
It's one of the dishes that people most ask from the menu.
To finish, another daring creation that combines sweet French toast with a pungent goat's cheese sauce.
Don't be afraid, because it's really tasty.
Don't be afraid. I can smell it.
First time I tried it, I was very skeptical. But then I decided to try it, and I did not regret. It is good.
So good.
Light and sugar and the heavy and salty thing, they match perfectly together.
Well, you Portuguese are quite a mixture of cultures and influences, and you are bold enough in your food to mix things that the rest of us would never dream of putting together.
Oh,
And this is the result, a great
you-
success.
That's why you should come to Portugal more often.
Excellent. In the years following the 1755 earthquake, what is now one of Lisbon's iconic features became popular, as the city underwent a monumental reconstruction. And tiles were used to decorate buildings. They're cheaper than stone and marble, and in the blistering summer months, they deflect the sun's powerful rays. Many of Lisbon's finest buildings are admired for their decorative ceramics, and the craft of tile making lives on in the city's historic suburb of Belém. I ventured a small distance from the centre of Lisbon. This is the Fábrica Santana, a ceramics factory producing tile and pottery, which has been established since 1741. I'm meeting Francisco, whose family are the factory's third owners in its 280-year history. What a magnificent showroom this is. I'm overwhelmed by the beauty of it all. You were established in 1741.
And we continue to produce today Portuguese traditional tiles and pottery according to the original methods of the 18th century. Everything here is made and painted by hand.
And by an extraordinary chance, this business was founded just before the earthquake.
After the earthquake, the need to rebuild the city created a demand for tiles. And we, as a ceramic factory, making more low-end products, started making the tiles. And we never stopped since then.
The skill of making tiles was introduced to Portugal during 5 centuries of Muslim rule, which began in the 8th century. Geometric patterns common to Islamic design evolved into a freehand style of art, with the picture spread across dozens or even hundreds of tiles.
On this room, it's where everything starts.
Row upon row of shelves, groaning under the weight of plaster of Paris molds, make up the company archive.
We have 900 different shapes in the factory. This is Albano, Michael Albano.
Bom dia.
It's one of the oldest craftsmen in Santana, working here for 40 years, shaping the clay to make tiles or pottery. The mold has a specific design.
Yeah, there's the relief.
Here, relief. And when we take out the clay afterwards, the clay will have the relief of the mold. Do you want to try something?
I would love to have a go at that. Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
You have to put the clay there.
And bash it.
Yeah. Put all your frustrations there.
And then I saw him folding these pieces in a little bit.
A little bit.
Gives it a good bash.
Now I think you need to take out the clay.
So I use my kind of cheese wire
Exactly.
to cut that, and I'm going to take that off.
To finally put the stamp with the name of the factory. Good.
Look at that. Obrigado, obrigado. I'm really pleased with that. Obviously, I did bash the clay reasonably thoroughly. As satisfying as that was, I assume that the decoration requires a lighter touch.
We arrive at one of the painting rooms of our factory. And you can see some magic happening here.
I can. Beautiful. And this is a very unforgiving process. That is to say, the artist has to get it right.
Yeah.
This isn't like a pencil and eraser.
It's not very easy to erase. It's one shot, and you have to get it at the first one.
Quite extraordinary. With little room for error and extreme precision required, I should have a go, of course. How does one begin to decorate a tile?
First, you can use paper mold to give you the main lines of a traditional Portuguese style of the 18th century. You put it on the top.
Ah, I see.
Don't fold it. Not required.
Not required, okay.
You just start leaving some graphite on the paper. Don't be afraid. It's better to have more graphite than less.
Pattern applied. All I have to do is follow the lines.
And now you have the colors in front of you. You can start creating your own Portuguese azulejo. Exactly, by starting by the outlines. It's easy. You're in the good way to start working here.
I don't think so. I do not have an artistic vein in my body. How long do your people train?
Takes about 1 to 2 years.
It's extraordinary.
We have a very specific way of painting, a traditional Portuguese way.
Mine's not quite the traditional Portuguese way. Now I've gone rogue. This is Portillo-esque flamboyance. And so it was on that day in the first quarter of the 21st century that a whole new style of tile making was created in Lisbon. My Lisbon long weekend is off to a flying start. With plans to hit the town later, I've heard of a great place for an early supper. Opportunities to eat out are plentiful and affordable. Lisbon is regularly ranked amongst the cheapest city breaks in Europe for food, drink, and accommodation. Some of the best budget food can be found in the city's kiosk cafes, like this one run by restaurateur Tiago. Hello, Tiago.
Hello, Michael.
It's lovely to see you.
You too. Welcome to Lisbon.
Lovely to see you and your beautiful kiosk.
This one is around 100 years. It's the oldest kiosk. It's an iron kiosk. It's one of the few, and everything was restored from top to bottom.
From the 19th century, kiosk culture was at the heart of Portuguese city life and social gatherings. But in the 1930s, the country entered a decades-long repressive dictatorship, and kiosk culture all but disappeared. After a recent government-backed campaign to return public life to the plazas, enterprising restaurateurs like Tiago began to revive these Art Nouveau-style kiosks.
We have 30 seats outside with this lovely sun, and you can join us from lunch until dinner and have a snack.
But how is it possible to serve 30 people potentially from this tiny space?
With a lot of magic, effort, and a little bit of hustle. If you want to have a look, mind your head. So this is a very small space. Everything happens in here. It's around 6 square meters. We work in height. We have toasters, we have all the cutlery and glasses, small fridge to put everything, ice machine, and that's it. Yes?
But you also have a trapdoor.
Yes, we have a trapdoor. It's at the moment where everything,
Oh
where
my.
we store everything.
Quite a large cellar.
Yeah, this is where we keep all the beer right now, but also store some working supplies that we need for the day. Nowadays, most of the kiosks around town, they do a more international thing, burgers, chips, avocado on toast. We decided to go for a traditional take on Portuguese street food.
I will have whatever you tell me. I just want to try what you have on offer.
Okay.
Within minutes, Tiago has whipped up a veritable feast.
Ooh. Here we go.
A savoury pastry traditionally eaten in Lisbon, salted cod salad, and a thinly sliced pork crackling sandwich. Well, Tiago, what a spread of food. It all looks marvellous. Tell me about these things.
So those are massa terra. It's a thin pastry, then when it's deep fried, gets crunchy and very light. Inside pork, beef, some chorizo, a little bit of tomato.
Very thin pastry, very nice. We would call this maybe a pasty. I'm going to try the pork crackling sandwich. That's easier than I thought it was going to be. When you said pork crackling, I thought it was going to be very, very crunchy, very thick. But actually, it's very thin layers. It's almost like a ham. It's lovely.
It's the sandwich that used to be in the kiosk near to the harbor, and the workers, before they go to work, they wrap some sandwiches to make a break during the day.
I've loaded my piece of bread with the cod salad. Tell me about the Portuguese and cod. You really like cod, don't you?
We have a saying like the French people, they have a cheese for every day of the year. We have a cod recipe for every day of the year. You can do it so many different ways. So this is a codfish salad called punheta. In the old times, it doesn't have running water in the buildings. So the ladies, they come to the city fountains to clean, to wash, and desalt the codfish. So it's a recipe very traditional in the Lisbon area and belongs to the city.
Are you from Lisbon?
I am from Lisbon. I love it.
And it looks like you care about the heritage very much.
What we do in restaurants and kiosks, it's to make a revival of Portuguese traditions and the food that we serve, and so that the places don't get forgot, the recipes don't get forgot and don't get lost.
Yes.
So that's what we do, keep Lisbon alive.
Well, not only is the food and drink excellent, but it's so lovely to have these beautiful objects restored and now growing in number.
Thank you.
As dusk falls on my first day, I return to the Alfama district on the hill where my long weekend began. On the highest of the 7 hills of Lisbon stands the castle, visible from everywhere. It was first built in the 10th and 11th century during the period of Islamic rule, and my hotel for the night stands just outside the castle walls in the old medieval village, which itself was protected by walls. I'm assuming that I'll have a lovely view. My hotel was built in the 18th century on the kitchen gardens of the old royal palace. It's the perfect place to soak up medieval Lisbon. That is, if you don't mind sharing it with an ostentation of 40 peacocks who live in and around the castle. They're quite loud. Do they sing all night?
Sometimes, yes, especially at mating season.
Ah, yes, yes. Is it mating season now?
Now, yes, until the summer.
On a beautiful spring evening like this, who can blame them for being a little frisky? Delightful. And a room with a view. From peacock cries, I will retune my ears to a melancholic style of music that captures an aspect of the Portuguese character. Fado, meaning fate, is believed to have originated in Lisbon's 19th century working class neighbourhoods, where sailors and dockers would sing mournfully of loss and longing. Today, the Bairro Alto comes alive after dark and the sounds of fado entice crowds into its bars and restaurants. Chico!
Oh, boa noite.
Michael.
Chico, Francisco.
Francisco, Chico. Chico is the owner of a popular music bar where customers queue around the block to get a seat. Foreseeing that, I'm on the guest list. Ha un negocio ben sucedido.
Sim,
Ha
sim.
fila larga.
Sim.
Pode passar.
Sim, faça favor.
Obrigado. An intimate space with a fantastic atmosphere. The joint is absolutely heaving. It's open mic night tonight, and anyone can get up and sing. I've heard of blazing saddles. This is blazing sausage. Regular visitor and singer Cristiana is my guide to fado.
Fado is faith, destiny, something that we cannot control.
Yeah.
And it's our song.
But could one compare fado to the American blues, or could one compare it to Spanish flamenco in any way?
Yes, fado, we believe fado was born in the middle of poor society, poor people, and then it was like the way to express feelings, okay?
Yes. That's very interesting, and I really look forward so much to hearing you later.
Thank you so much.
First up is resident singer João. With no stage, he sings between the tables, making for an intense and moving performance. I find it in a way almost confusing because the guitar is quite lively, it's quite upbeat, but the song surely is a sad one. So it's a lament to quite an upbeat rhythm. Absolutely intriguing. It turns out that my neighbours are weekenders like me. Is this your first evening in Portugal?
Yeah.
So the first thing you've done is to come to the fado?
Yes. It was a plan.
What was it that attracted you to the fado?
I like because it's very emotional. It's about sadness, melancholia, lost love.
At the same time, something very romantic and very touching and moving in this music, and the voice that just vibrates.
You were talking about lost love.
Yeah?
I'm just looking at your hands. Your hands are joined together all the time. Here, there is no lost love.
No.
There is
It's
present
found
love.
Yeah.
There's present love.
Present and found, yeah.
A hush falls as Cristiana takes the floor.
Sou do fado, como sei, vivo poema cantado de fado que eu inventei.
She tells us of the poets and singers who have come before, and the blessed madness of singing and suffering.
Mas ponho a alma a cantar e as almas sabem escutar. Chorai, chorai, poetas do meu país, troncos da mesma raiz, da vida que nos juntou. Então não havia fado, nem fadistas como eu sou.
Cristiana, congratulations on your performance, which I enjoyed very much indeed.
Thank you so much.
What's it like for you? What does it feel like to perform fado to an audience?
It's a way to express myself,
Yeah.
okay? Sometimes we have sad days, sometimes we have happy days, but I think fado is something that helped me in my life. Then we come here, we sing, and we feel so much better.
And we receive that in respectful silence until the end, when we burst out into loud applause.
Thank you so much.
A beautiful spring morning breaks over Lisbon. From my hilltop hotel, I have a view down towards the magnificent Praça do Comércio Square. Facing onto the imposing Tagus River, the square once hosted Lisbon's royal palace, until 1755 when it too was levelled by the Great Earthquake. In its place, this enormous three-sided praça was built, one of Europe's biggest squares. The impressive arch leading into the Rua Augusta commemorates the city's reconstruction. Open to visitors throughout the year, the arch is well worth a visit. You can approach from the Rua Augusta and appreciate its majestic clock. Or catch the lift to the top for a fine view onto the square, where another seismic event shook this country just over a century ago. On the 1st of February 1908, the Portuguese royal family returned from a winter holiday to Lisbon. They disembarked from their boat and began to cross this square in an open carriage known as a landau. Two assassins struck, one armed with a carbine, the other with a pistol. The very first shot through the neck of King Carlos I killed him. A few moments later, a shot to the head of the heir apparent also dispatched him. The royal coach raced from the scene, saving Queen Amelia and her remaining son, who was crowned King Manuel II. His reign did not last, however. Within 2 years of the assassination, the monarchy was overthrown in a coup d'etat, and Portugal became a republic. The royals fled into exile. Queen Amelia's legacy endures today in one of the city's most popular tourist attractions. 4 miles west of the Praça, in the maritime district of Belém, is Portugal's National Coach Museum. My word. Mario.
Michael, welcome.
Thank you so much. This is really spectacular. What a beautiful collection of coaches. Spanning 400 years, the collection contains 45 of the oldest horse-drawn carriages in the world. Mario is the museum's proud director.
Over here we have an Austrian carriage. And this is the first royal coach from Portugal. So on our right side, Italian work, on our left side, a French work.
A very special Spanish coach takes pride of place. It also harbours a very royal secret.
This is spectacular, is late 16th century. Is considered the oldest coach in the world. Philip was king of Spain and Portugal, and he came from Madrid to Lisbon in this coach. Yes, that's
a long journey.
Long journey, more than 600 kilometers. Yeah. He wants to avoid too many stops. So this carriage have a special toilet.
Oh no.
To really? Avoid this kind of stops. Okay, this bench, he can remove it.
Oh.
This kind of technology, they thought about everything.
It's an extraordinary juxtaposition, isn't it? All the gold, all the luxury, and then the basic necessity.
Basic. Even kings have that basic necessities, of course.
The exquisite decoration on another carriage reveals symbolic messages about Portugal's historic power and naval success.
This is the coach of the oceans. These two men here seated represent the two oceans, the Atlantic Ocean and the Indian Ocean. As you can see, they are shaking hands.
Yes.
Because they are celebrating the discovery of the passage, maritime passage from Portugal directly to India. Very important, not only for Portugal, but also for Europe in 1498.
Behind the scenes, a crack team of restorers cares for the collection, including one very special item of clothing.
Here, the royal mantle that Queen Amelia, the last queen of Portugal and the founder of this museum, used. She gave this mantle to the museum after she's been in exile.
It's a beautiful piece with a magnificent train.
Yes, a national treasure. The only one that is not a vehicle in this museum.
For me, this return to Lisbon has been a voyage of rediscovery, linking together places that were locked in my memory, just as the medieval voyages of the navigators stitched together the civilizations of the globe. I rarely knew a place of so many panoramas, from the daunting castle or a charming terrace down over the shimmering Tagus. On your long weekend, you too will probe fascinating neighborhoods. And above all, you'll encounter a people who, by their nature and by their history, are open to the world. Let's carry on with our long weekend in the pulsating Portuguese capital, Lisbon. Amongst the city's 7 hills, overlooking Portugal's biggest river, countless adventures lie ahead. Today I'm continuing my Lisbon voyage of discovery. Unlike many southern European coastal cities, Lisbon doesn't bask on the tranquil Mediterranean. It glares defiantly at the wild Atlantic, across which 15th century navigators established trade routes circling the globe. So far, I've braved quirky Portuguese cuisine.
First time I tried it, I was very skeptical. It is good.
So good. Handcrafted traditional Portuguese ceramics.
We have a very specific way of painting, a traditional Portuguese way.
Now I've gone rogue. And lost myself in fado, Lisbon's melancholic folk music. Today, I embrace the spirit of the great navigators. Sailing into the wind, skipper. Savour sumptuous seafood. What a delicacy. Well, we'll have some more of those. And learn of the spies who inspired a cinematic icon.
The name's Mayer, James Mayer.
Mr. Mayer, I was expecting you. My first night in the Portuguese capital was spent on the highest of its 7 hills, where my hotel stands just outside the walls of the Castelo São Jorge. The castle we see today reflects changes made during the 13th century, following the reintroduction of Christianity during the Second Crusade. A walled quadrangular perimeter is fortified by 11 defensive towers. What a wonderful view. I'm looking down from the oldest part of the city on other parts of Lisbon. From many parts of the city, you could actually believe that you're on the seaside, whereas in fact the Atlantic is all the way back here. This is the estuary of the immense River Tagus, which rises in central Spain over 600 miles away. A vessel entering Lisbon from the Atlantic passes through a relatively slim channel of the Tagus River, narrow enough that they could build a suspension bridge here. But then the river broadens out into a vast estuary, an immense natural harbour. Spanning the river's mouth at its widest point is the mighty Vasco da Gama Bridge, measuring almost 11 miles. It's named after the celebrated explorer who was the first to sail directly to India from Europe in the 15th century. And also now I see that between the 7 hills there are flat areas, and that explains how Lisbon can also be a city of boulevards and avenues. The Tagus and the Atlantic shape this city, its industry, its recreation, and its rich harvest of fish and seafood. To appreciate the connections between city, river, and ocean, I travel to the far end of the 28 tram line, off the tourist beat, to Campo de Urique, where I meet local food writer Philippa. Philippa, hello.
Hello, Michael.
Great to see you.
Great to see you.
On your visit, it's well worth seeking out this culinary oasis for its authenticity. Oh, what a lovely big market.
You can see how fish is big for the Portuguese. All these sections
yeah.
is dedicated to fresh fish. We love cod, the dry and salty cod, cuttlefish, octopus. Octopus is big also in Portugal and fantastic. People really know how to cook it. This is red snappers, lovely. And these ugly guys is something that we love. In Portuguese, we call this black swordfish, and we fry this one.
Okay.
We have two. We have the black and we have the silver one.
It's hard to believe that's a real fish, and it's brilliant silver colour. The Atlantic provides the coastline for all of Portugal. Its people are Europe's top seafood consumers, and even now fishing is the 4th largest employer. So we can go around and we can pick up food anywhere around and take it to a table.
And then take it to a table.
Well, let's do exactly that.
Let me introduce you, Anna and Pedro. They are the owners of this business.
Hello. Pedro. And these are goose for barnacles.
Yeah, from the Portuguese coast.
And do you know how to eat them?
You show me.
Okay, so you need to hold them here, then just twist it, because they can... wait, because they should still be attached. So you missed it.
I missed it.
Almost. It
Let's
takes
try that.
practice. Here, and then twist.
Ah.
Yeah. Exactly, perfect.
I succeeded.
Good job.
Tastes brilliant.
Yeah.
What a delicacy.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have some more of those. First dish chosen. Now to harvest the rest of our seafood platter.
I wanted to introduce to our most iconic fish, cod, the dry and salty cod that we love.
Bacalhau is the Portuguese word for cod. In cooking, it refers to the dried and salted variety.
It's dry and salty cod that is braised and then involved with scrambled eggs and shoestring potatoes and olives. It's so delicious.
That sounds great. We'll get some of that too. In Lisbon's shops and supermarkets, you'll find another local speciality. Here, a market stall is dedicated to beautifully decorated tins of seafood.
Let me introduce you Rosa Michael.
Hello.
Michael. Became a huge industry during the first half of the 20th century. And then late 70s, beginning of the 80s, the frozen food industry and the supermarkets era banished almost all of the factories canned fish.
And today?
With the retro trend of this century,
yes,
we returned to canned fish, but a much smaller industry and very much still an export industry. My favorite is a tuna with a very Portuguese sauce called caldeirada. It's a tomato sauce and with pepper, so it's slightly spicy. It's delicious.
You have that today, Rosa?
Yes, I have.
So we'll have a can of this and we'll add that to our lunch. And I see the sign you have here. You are allowed to transport canned fish in your hand luggage. So at the end of our long weekend, we just buy some canned fish and take it back. Feast assembled, it's time to eat. Tell me about the Portuguese and cod.
It is said that in the 14th century, we started trading salt with England, and England was sending us the cod.
Yes.
And then we became in love with this fish. We say that we have God, we have cod, and then we have fish. So cod is between God and fish.
I'm enjoying the tuna you recommended.
Oh, okay.
Slightly spicy.
Slightly spicy, but not too spicy. You like it?
I do.
I love this.
What would you say is the main advantage of going to a neighborhood market?
If you are more kind of independent traveler and you like to mingle with the locals, definitely this is the place.
Saúde.
Saúde.
For centuries, my long weekend city of Lisbon has felt a deep connection to the ocean. From here, in the 1400s, European trade routes were navigated to the four corners of the globe. Although quite small, Portugal still lays claim to a maritime territory of around 1.5 million square miles. West of the city, on the banks of the mighty Tagus, is the district of Belém. During the great earthquake of 1755, this was one of the few places spared massive destruction. One of its surviving buildings is an icon of the city that must be seen on your visit. This is the extravagant, magnificently over-the-top Tower of Belém. When it was built at the beginning of the 16th century, it was entirely surrounded by water. Located where the River Tagus widens to meet the Atlantic, this was Lisbon's first line of defence. And in this dominating position, it was decorated with the symbols that mattered to this country. The royal coat of arms, the shield of the King of Portugal, the so-called armillary sphere, which celebrated success in trade and navigation, and of course, the cross of Christ. This was made possible by the enormous flow of wealth into Portugal as a result of its navigational triumphs. As well as for defence, the tower was built to celebrate the great navigator Vasco da Gama. He opened European trade routes to India in 1498, and soon Portugal had interests across the globe, which hugely enriched it. Perhaps this is the time to talk about colonization, because of course Portugal imposed government and economic exploitation on non-European peoples in Asia, Africa, and the Americas. And it traded in spices and silks, but also in humanity, because millions of enslaved people were transported from Africa to the Americas to cultivate the crops. But at a time when anyone who was not a Christian was regarded as an infidel and often put to the sword, at a time when it was taken for granted that European and white civilization was superior, no conscience was troubled. Between the 15th and the 19th century, those millions of Africans were enslaved and transported across the Atlantic aboard Portuguese ships. Like other former slave trading powers, Portugal grapples with that history today. Everything would be different had it not been that at this place and at that time, these people set out intrepidly on their vessels into the unknown. One of the tower's intriguing features results from those early colonial excursions. For a moment, my journey becomes a safari. I'm on the hunt for an exotic beast, and I will follow my nose. Somewhere, a unique piece of decorative stonework with a saddening backstory is visible on this tower. Ah, there it is. A carving of a rhinoceros. The creature was a gift to Manuel I of Portugal in 1515. And I don't think the king really knew what to do with this thing, which hadn't been seen in Europe for centuries. They tried to make it fight with an elephant, but the elephant simply wandered off, wouldn't engage. And eventually the rhinoceros was re-exported and was shipwrecked and drowned, poor thing. But he's commemorated here on the Tower of Belém. My next rendezvous is a couple of miles east, in the shadow of Lisbon's majestic suspension bridge. The Atlantic Ocean is so important to the life and the history of Lisbon and its port on the Tagus River that when you're on the Seven Hills in the city, you get frequent glimpses of the water. And I think it helps to decode the city to get afloat. So I'm going to hoist the sail and mess about in a boat. I booked my spot on a yacht for hire, costing around £40 per person for a couple of hours sailing. It's something you might consider on your long weekend. My eventual destination is 15 miles along the coast, so I need to find my sea legs. Well, hello, Miguel.
Hello, Michael. Welcome.
Lovely to see you.
Oops.
Thank you. It's a great day, isn't it?
It is, it is. We have a breeze and we have sun, we have everything perfect.
Perfect.
Joining us is Miguel's daughter, Beatrice, and two appositely named Portuguese water dogs, one of which gives the boat its name, Sal.
Sailing into the wind, skipper.
We're going upriver to the city center now.
Wow, this is fun. Just pointing the nose of the vessel at the distant set of buildings.
It's perfect like this.
It's really interesting now to see Lisbon from the water, because it all begins to make a bit more sense. I can see now the hills on which the city is built.
Exactly.
So recognizable, the castle.
You can see a little bit of Alfama.
Alfama, yes, I can see Alfama drifting down from the castle towards the water's edge.
It's the best way to see the city.
What do you feel about your city?
I love it, the connection with the sea and the river. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's lovely to hear that. And just look how pretty it is.
100 meters offshore, my view of the Rua Augusta Arch is truly memorable.
Commercial Square is such a spectacular square, three-sided, the fourth side open to the water with that range of arches all around it. I mean, it's almost Venetian in its concept and its proportions. And now the best view yet of the walls of the castle. Oh, Lisbon is so beautiful.
We go around.
Time to leave the river for the ocean.
Hoisting the foresail. Beautiful.
On your long weekend here, you too could have this experience.
On the far side of the river, there's an immense statue of Christ the King.
Inspired by the Christ the Redeemer statue in Rio de Janeiro, it's almost 3 times taller, more than 330 feet tall, overlooking the city's majestic suspension bridge.
It bears a great resemblance to the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco.
It's painted the same color and was built by the same company, designed to withstand earthquakes like its older American cousin.
Okay.
Feel the wind here.
More.
As we pass underneath, the breeze picks up.
We're gonna tack, okay? Okay, let's go.
Turning towards the Belém Tower, we are tacking!
Voilà. Okay, here we go. No. Keep it straight, Michael. Towards land. This is the gusty part of the trip. Deixa ir. Wait. Michael, let me take over.
I will indeed let you take over. The wind has picked up, we've got the wind in our hair, we've got the wind in our sail, and we've got a skipper at the wheel.
This is the perfect day for sailing. It's a perfect breeze. Good speed, almost 8 knots. You good, Michael?
Yeah. Really enjoying it.
Just past Belém Tower, the Tagus drains into the mighty Atlantic, and I retake the wheel.
I'm on my way to Cascais, a place of beaches and surfing and water sports. A royal city. You can go by train, you can go by car, but I have got the wind in my sails.
Soon we encounter what was respected as the country's most important maritime fortification.
So we're now passing a very large fort, San Julião da Barra, and this obviously was constructed to defend Lisbon Harbour, and it has played a role in many wars. When I thought about travelling from Lisbon to Cascais, I never dreamt of sailing, but boy, this is the way to go.
Tossed by the rolling wild Atlantic, Alongside a rugged coastline, the seascape and the landscape dwarf us. Up ahead, our destination rests on the shore of a sheltered bay.
Like so many places here, Cascais was destroyed in the earthquake of 1755. And after that, it was just a little fishing village until the 1870s, when the Portuguese king decided to take the governor's mansion and convert it into a royal palace. And that meant also that the aristocracy flocked here to build their own places, giving us a lot of architecture of great interest, making the place both royal and fashionable.
Does that sound like your kind of resort?
Land ahoy! We're safely arrived.
The town of Cascais remains one of Portugal's most expensive postcodes. Its popularity soared during the Second World War, when Portugal remained neutral. Wealthy aristocrats and exiled European royals took up residence here. They included a former British monarch in search of sun, sea, and exclusivity.
When the Nazis advanced into France in 1940, the man who had been King Edward VIII, the Duke of Windsor, with his Duchess, left France and came here and settled in this house in Cascais. The arrival of aristocracy following the Portuguese royal family at the end of the 19th century led to a demand for lots of extravagant houses, and the styles of each lived out the fantasies of their owners. So here we have some that recall medieval castles, Italian palaces, Swiss chalets, English Gothic cathedrals, Roman and Greek classical buildings. There's no theme, although some people call them Portuguese style or Portuguese summer style. The one thing is that they're covered in external detail, which is an architectural term for showing off.
Throughout the 1950s, royals and the international jet set flocked here for weddings, society balls, and the annual carnival. Feeling peckish, I've come to a genteel shopping parade on the hunt for stately sustenance.
The President of Portugal has a holiday home close by, and like any Portuguese citizen, he has a favourite local bakery. It has graced this pretty square in the centre of Cascais since 1929.
This aptly named pasteleria has been run by Pedro for over 30 years.
I understand that in Portugal, very often each town and village has its own cakes, its own sweets. Is that true?
That's correct. It's not a competition, but everyone wants to have the best cake.
And what are the Cascais specialities?
Noz de Cascais, egg yolk, covered with a nut and some sugar, some caramel.
Crunchy glaze. That's very good.
Thank you. We have also the areias de Cascais. When you eat them, they crack in the mouth like you're eating sand.
Really?
So
let me try that.
The most traditional is only with butter, but made also with some cinnamon.
These golden convent cakes were traditionally made by Portuguese monks and nuns using leftover egg yolks. The egg whites have been baked to make communion wafers for the Mass. The best known is the iconic custard tart, pastel de nata. Pedro's team continues to develop new variations on the classics.
Some years ago, one of our chefs decided to change a cake called Jesuita. It was like a triangle covered with sugar. We call it almond Jesuit. And today, it's our best-seller cake.
These sweet puff pastry triangles are found across Portugal, filled and topped. They're made here freshly every day.
So this is where you do all the magic in your kitchen?
That's true.
So this is the making of the Jesuit cake. This is like rolling steel in a steel mill. You send it backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards.
The pastry is rolled and re-rolled to less than half a centimetre.
More than 4 meters.
It's going to be more than 4 meters long eventually. Wow. This machine is certainly an improvement on rolling it by hand.
There's one manual part to the process, spreading the sweet egg cream.
That looks simple enough. What could possibly go wrong?
You need a job? can work here. This is putting some almond.
To make it crunchy.
Crunchy, exactly.
Yes.
And to finish, cinnamon.
Wow. Quite generous quantities of cinnamon.
The pastry is then folded in half.
Like a blanket.
And cut into triangles. Not as easy as it looks.
Nice.
And my triangle's the same?
Yeah.
Not too bad, not too bad.
A final sprinkling of almonds.
Make sure nobody is shortchanged.
Baked for 20 minutes, and they're ready to serve.
This is quite a big slice.
Normally, I'm joking with the clients. I said, if you don't like it, you don't pay it. But I didn't have, so far, any problem.
I do like that. I'm a great fan of almonds. I love almonds. And it's nice because it's not too sugary. Very nice cake.
With Portugal a neutral country during the Second World War, it wasn't just the rich and royals who flocked to Cascais and the neighbouring resort Estoril. The mix of luxury hotels, golden beaches, and one of Europe's largest casinos lured a more covert clientele.
The name's Mayor, James Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, I was expecting you.
Expatriate writer and espionage expert James meets me at the hotel bar, which was the setting for clandestine activity.
Michael, I've taken the liberty of ordering us a couple of dry martinis.
Shaken, not stirred, I assume.
Indeed. Michael, did you know we're in one of the principal hubs of World War II espionage here, the Estoril bar? Beginning of the war, there were kind of all sorts of glamorous people, including spies.
Why would there be espionage in these parts?
Well, I think one of the main reasons is that it was a neutral country. So spies from every side, from the Allies, the Axis, could operate in all impunity. It was more discreet.
And the spies, I mean, would they know about each other, do you think?
In places like the Palacio Estoril, they would meet and socialise together. It was kind of almost ridiculous.
Amongst them was the creator of the greatest fictional spy ever, the man who brought 007, James Bond, to life.
Ian Fleming, when the war started, he joined naval intelligence and he spent some time here. And one of the spies who particularly fascinated him was a guy called Duško Popov, who was a Serbian spy, and he was a British double agent. He was a playboy. He was very wealthy. He had a tremendous reputation as a womanizer. He really lived it up. Of course, another attraction for Fleming was the casino next door. He loved gambling. So did Popov. You know, they had the same tastes. They were interested in women, gambling, dry martinis.
If all that sounds familiar, it came to fruition with the publication of Fleming's first Bond novel in 1953, Casino Royale. 15 years later, this hotel and the casino next door formed the backdrop for the sixth film of the 007 franchise, On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
And how much of Fleming do you think there is in Bond?
I think Bond was probably a far nastier character than Ian Fleming, and Bond has sometimes been described as epitomising sex, snobbery and sadism.
James, if I can say to you very confidentially,
I feel that in this hotbed of espionage over a dry martini, you and I have bonded.
Absolutely.
With my day on the Tagus and Atlantic behind me, I returned to Lisbon's historic centre. Both waterways gave this city its life, and in an unforgettable moment in August 1755, they were instrumental in its destruction. Reminders are dotted around the city.
The Lisbon earthquake of 1755 was accompanied by a tsunami 6 meters high, which swept ashore and contributed massively to the appalling death toll. Earthquakes along this fault line are still a possibility. The last one was in 1969. And so now early warning devices are installed to detect movements in the land or water. And that gives people the chance to use evacuation routes to rush to higher ground, which fortunately in Lisbon is always close at hand.
As dusk draws in, I head up one of the city's many steep hills, Rua de Alecrim. My destination is the lavish former residence of a nobleman, built after the earthquake. It's alluring because it's recently undergone a complete restoration.
Hello, Duarte.
Hello.
I'm Michael.
Michael, how are you? Welcome.
Great to see you. Congratulations on the palace.
Thank you. It's beautiful, isn't it?
It is absolutely superb.
Duarte is one of the owners of the building, which is now divided over 2 floors of themed bars and dining rooms.
Tell me a little of the history of the palace.
Well, so the palace was built after the big earthquake in 1755 in Lisbon. And it was a noble family back in the time, a very rich family. And it was finished around 1780.
And all these wonderful decorations are from the original?
Yes.
Commissioned in 1781 by a local Count Vimiozu, the beautifully restored frescoes depict figures from classical mythology. Over time, the palace acquired a reputation for debauchery due to the rowdy soirees organized by his flamboyant son, the Count of Fado. The notoriety of those gatherings has lingered. The Portuguese word farrabodo means a wild party.
When you decided to make a restaurant here, in what condition was the palace?
The paintings, the original ones, were in very bad shape. Water coming from the ceiling, so the painting were getting lost. Yeah. The stained glass, for example, was all broken, so we had to recover everything. And since it was a university for 40 years, you could imagine what the students did it. So we have to recover everything.
I see that much of what you've done here is restoration of the original, but not presumably the winged lion.
No, this is our personal touch. If you notice on the front door, there's a huge doorknobs with the face of a lion. But we thought, look, lions don't fly, so let's have some wings.
What made you want to do it? It must have been a huge project, a great challenge.
Yes, actually it was. I knew the palace before from the university, and I always thought that we should show this to the city and to people.
As much as I'd love to stay, I've a date 2 hills away, in the city's ancient Moorish quarter. Philippa, who took me for my seafood lunch, has promised me a little subterfuge, leading to a little-known dinner destination.
I'm on my way to an assignation to investigate a phenomenon known as chinos clandestinos, which means clandestine Chinese restaurants. Well, I'm always up for a bit of undercover work myself. Just watch me blend in. The clothing helps. Hello, Philippa.
Hello, Michael.
Tell me about this fascinating neighborhood.
Oh, this is amazing. This is Mouraria. It's a melting pot. It's probably the most multicultural neighborhood we have in Lisbon. People from China, from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh as well.
This was an Islamic neighbourhood, but Lisbon's recent immigrants are often from Portugal's former colonies.
This was the neighborhood where the Moorish originally started living in the 12th centuries.
Yeah.
So Mouraria means exactly the Moorish district, the Moorish quarter.
And so it has the feel of a village, really, doesn't it?
And it's fantastic. It is a village.
Yeah, yeah. So we're going to go and hunt for a clandestine Chinese restaurant.
Correct.
You'll know the way, I think.
I know the way. Let's go.
Lisbon's Chinese diaspora dates to Portugal's 16th century trade links with China. Today, an informal Chinatown houses several clandestine eateries.
It's here.
Okay. After you.
My destiny is in Philippa's hands as we ascend to an unmarked room on the first floor.
Very charming.
Yeah, it is.
Which turns into a very informal dining room.
Thank you. So this feels like somebody's apartment.
When I've been here for the first time, 11 years ago, was a family, a couple, and they didn't speak any Portuguese. So they just had the menu with the photos.
So initially, at least, these restaurants were clandestine.
Totally, totally. There was families, Chinese families, opening restaurants in their own homes.
And are they now less clandestine than they used to be?
They are quite less. Now they can serve meals in a legal way. They're to turn into cultural associations to be allowed to have a cafeteria that can serve some kind of meals. This for our food safety body to let them, be open to public. If not, they would be closed, and they would get a huge fine as well.
So they're not even now officially restaurants. They're cultural associations with a cafe.
They are not. Yeah, they are not yet a restaurant.
One nod.
One nod.
One nod.
Appetizing smells from the kitchen make me lose interest in legal niceties.
Okay, looks like everything's good, but the sweet and sour pork is good.
Sí, muito bom.
But, da quando está aqui?
Aqui 14, 15.
14 or 15 years you've been here.
The helpfully pictorial menu overcomes any language barrier.
Io? Porco agrodolce.
Sì.
Sì, with rice, riso.
Arroz aqui.
Passo aqui. What sort of rice?
Sì.
Che recommenda?
Aqui é bom melhor. Sim.
Egg rice.
Okay.
Marvellous.
Thank you.
Obrigado.
We don't wait long till our food arrives.
Good, some greens.
Obrigado. This is very good. This is a much better sweet and sour pork than I ever eat in England. Are there quite a lot of these clandestine Chinese restaurants, do you think?
There are 3. They still exist.
And I guess that this place shows the community in transition, because it still feels like an apartment, quite a simple menu. It's still quite basic here, but people like it and the food is excellent.
We Portuguese, we like different things. We like new things. So there's always room to taste everything, from Chinese to Italian to Peruvian.
Well, Philippa, I think our excursion into the clandestine world of Chinese restaurants has been a great success.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes. I must say this is a city that I am enjoying. I'm enormously struck by its history, particularly that colonial period. It's left its mark on the people and very much so on the food. It's extraordinary to reflect upon what an impact this small country had on the development of our globe, the world as we know it today. It's really an extraordinary legacy.
It's my final full day in Portugal's stimulating capital. this ancient city has embraced the modern world with gusto.
Today, I continue to enjoy the many charms of the city of Lisbon.
Sitting on the mighty Tagus River, where it flows into the Atlantic, Lisbon was once the centre of a global empire, and culturally, that still enriches the city today. So far, I've scaled its many hills.
Lisbon is a city of panoramas and views, isn't it?
Taken to the ocean waves.
We've got the wind in our sail. Boy, this is the way to go.
And explored the city after dark.
So we're going to go and hunt for a clandestine Chinese restaurant.
Correct.
You'll know the way, I think.
I know the way. Let's go.
Today, I'll learn how peasants with sticks helped to defeat the Spanish.
He can defend my village anytime.
Savor a fiery chicken recipe.
Whoa!
And discover a cake shop with global ambition.
Is this the best chocolate cake in the world?
This is the best chocolate cake in the world, yes.
That looks very naughty indeed.
On my final morning, I returned to the riverside district of Belém, west of the city centre. The historic navigators who set sail from here to Asia, Africa and the Americas are commemorated by this towering monument of the discoveries.
It's interesting to speculate whether people are conditioned by the seas that surround them. Portugal faces the Atlantic. Spain does too, but a large part of it is onto the Mediterranean. But the Portuguese face this fierce ocean, which dumps vast amounts of rain on the coast. And I would say that in general, by comparison with the Spanish, they are much less gregarious in public. Are they perhaps subdued by a strong prevailing westerly wind?
Perhaps an exception to that rule is this rather energetic group of martial art aficionados.
Oh God!
They're practicing a discipline of stick fighting that originated in Portugal's mountainous north around 700 years ago.
Pretty exciting stuff.
Oh God!
Feels very vicious, but also extremely controlled and disciplined.
You sometimes see displays of stick fighting, known as jogo de pau, at fiestas. The man in charge is a sprightly 70-year-old Master Nuno.
Although it's very formalised, there's fantastic energy in there. Real will to survive and win. Bravo. He can defend my village anytime.
Hello?
Master Nuno, I'm Michael.
Nuno?
Hello, Michael. I'm Stefan.
Very good to see you. First of all, may I see what you're using here, what your weapon is? And this goes back to the medieval times.
Yeah.
Why were people using sticks instead of swords?
Os ricos usavam espadas, os pobres usavam pau.
People who could afford, they would use steel, and the poor would use the sticks.
Were these weapons ever used in battle?
Sim, a Batalha de Aljubarrota, o povo, o rei não dava armas ao povo.
Aljubarrota was a battle between Portugal and Spain, I think.
Yes, yes.
Exactly.
And Portugal won.
Portugal ganhou.
Yes.
Exactly.
Fought in 1385, when troops on both sides were armed with swords and spears. Portuguese peasants, equipped only with sticks, assumed the role of foot soldiers. Despite being outnumbered 4-1, the Portuguese prevailed.
Defende, dois.
By the 20th century, the art of jogo de pau was all but lost from Portugal's rural communities. Recently, Master Nuno has spearheaded a revival that has lifted the number of fighters to around 300.
Diga-lhe para ele segurar aqui.
Can you hold the stick with your right hand? Yeah.
With my right hand.
Yeah.
Make that 301.
Didn't know he was going to do that. Okay, one more time.
Master Nuno clearly takes no prisoners.
Okay, fecha aqui.
With me.
Can you follow, master?
Yes.
1 and 2. 2. Yes. Now.
Go.
He makes it look easy.
Here. Please, defend. Yeah.
Oh.
No. I stop here. No.
Thank you, Maestro. That was a good morning workout. Excellent. Thank you so much. What a very interesting spectacle. A very old custom kept alive by a very few, but harking back to some very important moments of Portuguese history. Moments when peasants with sticks beat off the invading Spaniards.
Saúde!
Thank you.
My Lisbon long weekend continues on the banks of the broad Tagus River. Another of my recommendations for your visit is this striking monument that marks Portugal's age of discovery, as well as noting its colonial past.
This 52-metre-high monument celebrates Portugal's extraordinary role in globalization. It has a procession of explorers from the 15th and 16th century who are headed by Henry the Navigator. Under his inspiration, Portugal developed a sleek new style of ship known as a caravel, which is represented here in the monument. And that pushed out into the Atlantic and landed sailors all the way down the west coast of Africa. Another of the explorers represented here was Vasco da Gama. He sailed from here, from Portugal, all the way around the southern tip of Africa and landed in India and returned. These men conquered the oceans, and they gave us the world that we know today.
By the 16th century, Portugal was the most prosperous nation in the world, following its feats of navigation and the conquest of indigenous peoples, millions of whom were enslaved. The influence of the old empire is still felt today. For instance, my lunch is a dish that's thought to have originated in Portugal's southern African colonies, and it has spread like wildfire. Some claim that it's the new national dish of Britain.
Piri piri is thought to date back to the 15th century, when Portuguese settlers in Mozambique and Angola took the chili peppers, which they found there called bird's eye chili peppers, and they mixed them with red wine vinegar and with paprika and with garlic to produce a spicy sauce, which these days is strongly associated with chicken.
Up yet another steep hill in Lisbon's Príncipe Real district, I find an unassuming restaurant popularised on social media. On your visit, you could join the food bloggers and TikTokers who flock here for its piri piri. And now it's my turn to discover the dish that inspired a global chicken chain.
Hello.
Hello, it's Michael.
Who are you?
It's Michael.
Ah, okay.
Is that Sonia?
Yeah.
Hello, Sonia.
Hello.
You look magnificent. You're all ready for cooking.
I see your photos. You are always with beautiful colors, you know?
Well, I try.
Yeah.
And you're in black.
I'm always in black. Come in.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
This one-woman operation is run by Sonia, who gave up a 27-year career in fashion to pursue a passion for piri-piri barbecue.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Okay, you are cooking.
Okay, I passed muster.
Come in.
Right. It's usually open only in the evening. I've come for a late lunch to learn the secrets of her sauces.
Normally, when you grill the chicken, majority of the people doing butter and garlic. Then you can put other things, you know?
The basic piri-piri sauce includes red wine vinegar, olive oil, herbs, and plenty of chilies.
Ooh.
You okay?
Look at these quantities that go in.
No, this is not too much. And it's not strong, okay?
Marvellous aromas.
Smell good?
Yeah.
And you have to do like this or like this.
Oh, do you?
but needs salt.
Oh, that's on its way.
It's not.
Whoa! No,
you need
I was
salt.
fooled because at the beginning
Okay.
you don't get the heat, and then wow, the spiciness hits you. That's on its way to being a great sauce.
Whilst the dish simmers, there are more sauces to try.
I love that.
Do you like? I like
With
a
the
lot
citrus
too.
flavours,
Yeah.
that's marvellous.
Yeah. And this is a little bit more strong, if you can feel the difference.
Yeah, I think that one's right. Oh, I can feel it stinging on my lips.
You need, right?
Yes.
And it's like Portugal, like this.
This is just to cleanse the palate.
And with a final check of the flavour,
And it's ready.
I leave Sonia to fire up the grill.
There are chickens and sausages and ribs. Sonia has completed her sauces and has made a beautiful display of rice and salad. She's singing a lot. She's in very, very fine voice. And outside, an expectant queue has formed.
Amongst them, 2 brothers and a cousin on a long weekend break.
How have you found Lisbon?
We've really enjoyed it.
And why are you in this queue, which hasn't moved yet?
So we've been reading a lot of the reviews about this fantastic barbecue joint with a wonderful lady inside.
She has sauces of varying spiciness.
We like spicy, say no more.
Maximum spice. Maximum spice, okay.
We like the challenge.
She can do that for you.
Hello, how are you? Tell me what you want.
For just a few euros, you can choose from grilled meats, salads, and rice.
Are you sure that you want a big or a small?
Big.
Yeah?
While customers consider their orders, I contemplate the banquet before me.
Sonia, it's far too much. This is going to be lovely because this is going to be very spicy, then this is going to refresh the mouth.
Yeah.
Sonia really knows what she's doing. Chicken is so moist and tasty and fresh and crispy on the outside. Her spicy sauces are just the perfect accompaniment. Sonia, well done.
It's good?
Absolutely delicious.
I know that you are very polite, but you can eat with the hands, okay?
Oh.
Yeah, of course. What you need, please?
1 whole chicken.
Thank you very much.
Sonia is doing her best to serve her customers as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, for some reason, her prehistoric mobile phone hangs by a string in the doorway and rings again and again and again. And Sonia shows no interest in answering it at all.
I find it fascinating that this small and unassuming restaurant attracts customers from around the world.
Chicken or two mixed?
Too mixed. Yeah.
Spicy? Good.
Of course, the dish itself is an historic mix of cultures.
Food tells us so much about a nation's history. So here we have spicy food, which comes from Angola and Mozambique, brought back by Portuguese settlers there and by immigrants from those countries. Now, in next door Spain, you also have a cuisine which is influenced by history. So you have Islamic and Jewish influences on Spanish cuisine. But here's an interesting point. Spanish people, on the whole, don't like spicy food, whereas the Portuguese, with their colonial history, are very fond of it.
My fabulous feast has defeated me.
Sonia, thank
Are you finished with the food?
all the food. Finished
Are you
all of it.
No, it's not true.
I tried. You are amazing. You are a landmark of Lisbon. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You are marvelous.
Good luck for you.
Thank you.
Ciao, take
Bye-bye,
care.
Sonia.
Obrigada.
From fiery fusion cookery to impressive monuments, traces of Portugal's colonial past are plentiful. Walking off my lunch, I return to the district of Belém. Set back from the river, I find one of the city's most majestic religious buildings.
The monastery of St. Jerome and its church. I'm struck by their beauty, but most of all, by their size. They are enormous.
They were built at the height of Portugal's Age of Discovery for an order of monks whose role was to pray for their king and navigators, who enriched Portugal and converted its colonies and conquered peoples to Christianity.
Think about the wealth that it took to create these buildings. Portugal is a narrow strip of territory, but when you visit Lisbon, remember that it was the capital of an empire that wrapped around the globe from Southeast Asia to Brazil.
Inside, I meet historian George, who works here.
Goodness, George, how nice to see you.
Hello, Michael. How are you? Fine.
Very well indeed. I'm overcome by the size of the monastery.
Yes.
And the beauty of the church.
Thank you very much.
And this is a reflection of Portuguese wealth in that time, thanks to the trade, thanks to the colonies, enormous money.
Enormous money. In the beginning, it was the gold that came from the Ghana, because Ghana, the coast of gold, the name is from Portuguese language. During the 15th century, they used the money of the commerce of the spices. 5% of all the money, it was just for the construction of the monastery. It was so a big money.
and that accounts for why we can have such an enormous and richly decorated building.
The monastery was commissioned by King Manuel I to house an order of Hieronymite monks who lived a life of solitude and abstinence. Across 100 years of construction, no expense was spared in creating a grand dining room, private chapel, and this enclosed cloister.
Oh, George, the cloister is so beautiful, so wonderfully decorated, and 2 stories.
Well, it's a masterpiece.
Yes. This was for the monks.
This was for the monks. It was the place where the monks sit during the days to meditate and contemplate. They have 7 hours of praying and singing, and not to work with hands. That was forbidden.
Good heavens.
Before I leave, George has promised to show me something very remarkable.
George, the light in the church at this moment is marvelous, and it falls directly upon this crucifixion.
Yes, the idea when they made the monastery is the construction is made in direction of the sun. 2 times a year, the days of the equinox, the sun illuminated the place of Jesus Christ, because he is the light of the world for the Christian people.
So I am extraordinarily lucky because I'm visiting very, very close to the equinox, and at this very moment the light falls in this spectacular way, illuminating the Christ falling into the church.
Yes.
These people built with such precision, didn't they, with such imagination?
Yes.
George, I thank you very much because you've helped me to connect various ideas, in particular to remember how religious people were in this moment, and that the navigators were driven not only by the wish to understand the world and by the wish to become rich, but also because they wanted to spread Christianity around the world.
It's the final day of my long weekend in Lisbon. Before I return home tomorrow, there's a list of things to be done. My next stop is 1 hill away from my hotel, bordering the Alfama and Graça districts. Santo André Hill is often neglected in favour of its popular neighbour, the iconic hill of São Jorge. I've heard that I can have an equally stunning view without having to jostle for position.
Up there is the Igreja de Graça, the Church of Grace, and it has in front of it a beautiful panorama with lovely views over the city. And I would love to go there, but the deterrent is 236 steps. But now there is an alternative. A new funicular.
For over a century, Lisbon has been served by 3 funiculars. On these ingenious 19th century railways, a cable hauls the vehicle up the city's steep hills. Lisbon's oldest funicular, the Lavra, opened in 1884. Initially powered by water, it still runs today. My compact modern version has recently opened, replacing a funicular that ran 120 years ago, adding a fourth to the city's total.
They're a great tourist attraction, but they're also important for local people. They are an important means of public transport. This new one leading up to Graça has been a long time coming, but it's here now and very welcome.
It's open daily from 9 in the morning till 9 at night.
Obrigado.
And my tip is to board early before the crowds.
That funicular ride must be one of the most worthwhile 40 seconds I've ever spent. It's brought me to this marvellous view over the river with the 25th of April bridge and the castle. Each of the 7 hills in Lisbon has its own panorama. You could do worse than to divide your long weekend into 7, averaging just over 2 hills per day.
On my final Lisbon morning, I take an early breakfast in my hotel garden adjoining the Castelo São Jorge.
I've slept well in my pretty hotel, undisturbed by mating calls. It seems that these peacocks do not mate after dark, unlike human beings, I suppose.
Before I leave for the airport, I've a busy morning of souvenir hunting. My first rendezvous is at the popular seaside resort of Carcavelos, 20 minutes by train from Lisbon. Renowned for a golden beach almost a mile long, the town offers a great day trip. It also is one of Portugal's premier surf spots, with an Atlantic swell to suit most abilities. I've come in search of a forgotten fortified wine that once rivaled port as Portugal's main wine export. It was established on this estate by the man responsible for rebuilding Lisbon after the 1755 earthquake.
The Marquis of Pombal was an important figure in 18th century Portuguese history. He was the leading minister to the king and very autocratic and completely ruthless, which has earned him notoriety. But maybe those qualities were needed in the aftermath of the Lisbon earthquake for the rebuilding of the city. Here at Carcavelos, near Lisbon, he built himself a palace and began to produce excellent wine.
Today, Carcavelos wine is produced by estate manager Alexandre and his team.
Hello, Alexandre.
Michael, how are you?
Great to see you. What a very lovely spot.
Yeah, fantastic place, near the ocean.
And who owns this now? Descendants of the Marquis of Pombal?
No, now this belongs to the state.
Does that make you a civil servant?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it common in Portugal for the state to own vineyards?
I don't know any other project like this. And this is not a wine project, okay? This is a culture project. So when we are opening a bottle of this wine, we are financing a culture, not only drinking wine.
So your wine is a byproduct of a cultural project?
Exactly.
Shall we go and see how your byproduct is made?
Of course. Let's see.
On the far side of the vineyards, we find ourselves in the opulent 18th century garden that surrounds what was the Marquis's palace. When he wasn't rebuilding Lisbon, he studied agriculture and viticulture, experimenting, innovating, and producing on his own lands.
He built his agronomical complex 100 meters from his palace with a winery, the olive mill, the cellar, the barn, and the distillery.
This lovely building ahead of us, which could in itself be a palace, is that where you make the wine?
We are aging the wine here.
So, I mean, not only do you have lovely vineyards and a great deal of history, you also have the most wonderful gardens, palace, and buildings where you age your wine.
It's good to be a civil servant in Oeiras.
The house and gardens are open every day except Monday between 10 and 6. You can taste wines on Tuesdays and Saturdays if you book ahead.
We can smell the wine already, I think.
Yeah.
During the time of the Marquis, Carcavelos wine was popular with the English aristocracy, and so fetched some of the highest prices at auction in the late 18th century.
A magnificent display of barrels. This is a most attractive wine cellar. How long do you age the wines here?
Well, for being a Carcavelos wine, we should wait at least 2 years. But we don't put wines in the market with less than 7.
Since its glory days, the wine has declined in popularity due to changing tastes, crop blight, and the encroachment of Lisbon onto agricultural land.
One of our main goals is to recover the region. And nowadays, we are a monopoly.
Yeah.
We are almost the only producer.
But you're a monopoly that doesn't want to be a monopoly.
Yeah.
That's unusual.
We are trying to push other producers, and we are supporting other producers nowadays. And we are opening the doors of our winery, and they can bring the grapes, and they make the wine with us.
Alexandra and his team hope one day to restore Carcavelos to the Premier League of fortified wines, alongside its more well-known Portuguese and Spanish cousins.
It's a sweet and alcoholic wine like port wine or Madeira wine or Xerez or Marsala. Okay, so all of them are fortified wines.
But by comparison with the others, much smaller production, much rarer.
We are producing 50,000 liters a year. It's nothing comparing with other regions, but we are making steps.
Yeah.
So here we have a 7-year blend. Okay, if you do this, you can see the thickness.
Yeah.
In Portugal, we say it the tears of the wine.
Yes.
I think in England, it calls the legs.
It smells a little bit like a sweet sherry, perhaps. Very caramelly.
Caramelly.
Yeah.
But at the end, you have this dryness sensation. And that's something quite odd. You are tasting a sweet wine with a dry character.
Excellent. And what's the other one you have here?
Well, let's try this one. This is a 15 years blend. As you can see, the color, it's darker.
It is indeed. It's a lovely, rich wine. It rolls over the tongue. It's kind of warming, but I mean, not in any way burning. It's a very, very lovely wine. And I'm very struck by the thickness of the liquid. The Marquis of Pombal was vicious, and his wine was viscous.
That's a great. Cheers.
Before I leave Lisbon for the airport, there's time for some last-minute shopping. Join me aboard the 28 tram on which our weekend began, to the opposite end of the line, the neighbourhood of Campo de Ourique. My foodie friend Philippa has a local bakery in mind, with a very big claim for an extremely indulgent cake.
This thing here, the pastry shop of the best chocolate cake in the world.
O melhor bolo de chocolate do mundo. That is quite a claim to make.
Yeah, but you will love it.
We will test it.
Bom dia, Carlos.
Olá, bom dia.
Bom dia.
Let me introduce Carlos and Michael. Hello. Carlos is the creator, the inventor of the best chocolate cake in the world that you are seeing.
Is this the best chocolate cake in the world?
This is the best chocolate cake in the world, yes.
So Carlos, how was this proven? How was this investigated?
You know, I sell only one product, so if I sell only one, I have to say it's the best.
So does it work? Does it bring people to your shop?
Yeah. If you put the best chocolate cake in the world in the window, of course people go and try. They come back, I don't know. But at least once they buy the cake.
Carlos, I'm enjoying knowing you already. May I have, please, and I'm sure you'll have one too, a slice of the best chocolate cake in the world.
And could I have a coffee too? Carlos has also released a chocolate-based cookbook. Cannily, he has omitted the recipe for his chocolate cake. That remains an official secret, known only to a handful of his bakers. Thank you, Carlos.
Obrigada.
Now, Carlos, who makes this the best chocolate cake in the world?
During many, many years, I did it myself.
Did you?
Yeah. Now I have 12 people to do this because I sell for all Portugal. I can sell 150 cakes by day.
150 cakes a day?
Yeah. I can sell easily on a Saturday 50 cakes here, just in this shop.
Carlos, congratulations. Time to see whether this cake can possibly live up to its name. Oh, look at that bad boy. That looks very naughty indeed.
Chocolate is very naughty, no?
I heard a crunching sound as you were cutting it. What's the crunch?
It's the meringue.
Meringue. Okay. Carlos, I have been eating chocolate cake over 70 years.
Yeah.
In 5 continents, in 83 countries.
Yeah.
And you claim this is the best in the world.
We will see. We will see.
You are the judge. What the judge says.
It's pretty amazing. Carlos, that's a great cake. And if someone were coming to Lisbon for a long weekend, would you say that the best chocolate cake in the world was a necessary part of their visit?
It is. It makes his weekend much sweeter. Yes.
For now, my airport taxi can wait. Next, let me whisk you to the stylish Chiado district, whose elegant shopping arcade sits beneath the ruined Carmo convent. Before I make one last purchase, I want to show you this lasting reminder of Lisbon's 1755 earthquake. Sad to say, Spain and Portugal were often at war. A victorious Portuguese general, Pereira, celebrated a victory of his in the 14th century by creating a beautiful church with an adjoining Carmelite monastery. But in 1755, in the earthquake, the monastery was pretty much destroyed and the roof of the church tumbled in with massive loss of life amongst the congregation. And so what we have now is a roofless structure, which I shall visit ruefully. Oh, this is magnificent. A really surprising wonder, this beautiful shell of a building. What a surprise. Attempts to rebuild the church were never realized, and in 1864 it was donated to a local archaeological society. So the ruined church had to be used for something, and more people found that there were pieces of masonry, pieces of church architecture from all over the city that needed a home. What better place than to put them here? And so it has become what it is now, a wonderful open-air museum. There's another reason that you might want to make the pilgrimage. It's believed that after death, if you don't go straight to hell, you pass through purgatory. The time you spend there depends on your number of sins before you proceed to heaven. But by coming through the doors of this church, you earn 40 days of remission for your sins. So I intend to go back out and come back in and go back out and come back in and see how many days off I can clock up. Redevelopment of the area during the 1920s created shop units out of the arcade set into the monastery's wall. Now, there was a debate in the city council about what to do with the very tiniest of these, and proposals were made upon the one hand and upon the other. In the end, the answer was there at their fingertips. This handy little shop that got the thumbs up is the only one of its kind in Portugal today. Just 1 year shy of its centenary, it's still trading. Run by the very charming Carlos.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Carlos, what a very narrow shop, if you don't mind me saying so.
Yes, it is for square meters, yes.
4 square meters?
Yes, it is. It's a very old shopping since 1925. Well, we don't change nothing. We have so many sizes, so many colors, but it's small.
So your stock, your stores don't take up much space?
No, no.
How long have you had the shop?
I'm here since 1974. 50 years, yes.
50 years?
Yes. I'm not so young. Yeah.
You look great. Are you the only glove business like this now in Portugal?
Yes. Yeah. This is the last glove shopping in Portugal.
Yes.
They don't exist anymore.
The gloves are made on site in 7 sizes with classic ranges for the lady and gentleman.
Give us your hand, please.
Oh, yes.
So you have size 8.5.
Whoa, this
you
is
see
even narrower.
The gloves all separated by colors and by sizes. So for you, in this case, for you, it's this box. You need to open the fingers. This is very important.
Oh.
Yes, yes. Then you put a little talco.
To help my hand.
Then you put your elbow on the pillar.
This is so special, Carlos.
Yes, it is.
Ah.
Yes, this is perfect.
Oh, my goodness.
You see?
That fits very well
Exactly
indeed.
your hand.
And how much might a lady or a gentleman expect to pay for a pair of beautiful gloves?
No, it's not so expensive. 69, 70. This is the normal prices, yes.
Not expensive at all?
No, it's not expensive, no.
Well, Carlos, I'm going to take this very elegant pair of green gloves, please.
Oh, wait a moment. You see? You need cleaning your hands.
What beautiful service.
If you please. Thank you very much.
Carlos.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
With an elegant souvenir acquired, it's time for me to take my leave of this wonderful city.
I've had great experiences on my long weekend. Oh, Lisbon is so beautiful.
I've discovered hidden gems.
How is it possible to serve 30 people from this tiny space?
With a lot of magic.
Climbed Lisbon's many hills.
What a wonderful view.
And marched back down again.
So steep. I enjoyed a vintage tram grunting its way through narrow streets.
I've fallen for the strains of fado. And those of peacocks too.
Do they sing all night?
Sometimes, yes, especially at the mating season.
I've helped to make pastry.
You need a job? Can work here.
I've consumed baked egg yolk again and again. That's very good. And enjoyed food from sea. What a delicacy. And land.
It's good.
Absolutely delicious.
And discovered a den of espionage.
My name's Mayor, James Mayer.
Mr. Mayor, I was expecting you. And I've raised a glass, shaken, not stirred, I assume, to those who've given me such a welcome in Lisbon. Saúde.
Saúde.